Okay, so a while back I said you could print words. What I didn't tell you is that you could also print numbers. If we were to run this example, we'll get 4. So why don't we do it? Yeah, we'll go on Replit. So what was it? We get 4, right? There you go, get 4. As I said. Um, yeah. So why don't we run through what happens here? Oh, let's go to snipping tool. Grab it. It might start to feel like I'm shoving the same message down your throat, but if you're getting bored, it's a good sign because that means you understand it, right? But if you don't understand it, that's why I'm doing it, right? Making sure everybody's on the same path. So here we go. Same thing. So computer starts, it knows nothing. We hit 1, the first instruction, we see x equals 2. The computer sees equals, it knows we're trying to put something inside x. It looks to the right of the equal sign, it sees the 2. It puts 2 inside x. So x has got 2 inside. Now we go to the second instruction, we see an equal sign. We know we're trying to put something inside the variable y. We look to the right of the equal sign, we see 2. We put 2 inside y. So now we go to the third instruction, we see equals. We see so we know that we need to put something inside z. The computer knows we need to put something inside z. And then it looks to the right of the equal sign, it sees the times. It looks inside x, it sees 2. It looks inside y, it sees 2. 2 times 2 times 2 equals 4. So 4 is put inside z. I'll take the dash out so you know it's a z. And then we go to 4. So the computer sees print. It knows that we're trying to display something inside the black box. It looks inside the brackets and it sees the variable z. It looks inside z and it finds the number 4, and then it makes it appear in the black box. It displays it in the black box. So that's how that works. So the point is, you can print, you can display numbers, and you can also display words. But I want you to remember, you can't treat a word like a number for computers. Computers need to be told that something is either a word or a number. You can't, you also remember this, you can't add, subtract, multiply, or divide two words. It just doesn't really make sense. And if you try to do it in a program, the computer will freak out. The program will not work. But you can treat a number like a word. For example, this is a sentence. Hey, my name's Jeff. Jeff is 21 years old. This makes sense. So does this. My passport number is PJ31457 4547. Don't look it up. It's not my passport number. But you know what I mean. Um, Numbers can be treated like words. But you can't treat words like numbers. You can't add, subtract, multiply, divide two words, but you can treat a number like a word, like in a sentence. So here's an example. In this program, the message 3 holds the words Chris is 21 years old. So let's do it. Let's do it. Why not? You're definitely going to start feeling pretty destroyed because I'm doing some similar stuff over and over again, but it's good for you because when it comes to you actually making the stuff, it will make so much more sense. So we're gonna move this down here. Okay. So Chris, um, computer doesn't know anything. It hits the first instruction, sees equal sign, knows we're trying to put something inside message 1. It looks to the right, sees the words Chris is. So inside message 1, we put the words Chris is. message 2, trying to put 21 years old inside it. And then in the third instruction, the computer sees the equal sign and it knows that we're trying to put something inside message 3. It looks to the right, it sees a plus sign, it sees message 1, it looks inside message 1 and it finds Chris's, the words Chris's. It looks inside message 2 and it finds the words 21 years old. And when you're adding two words together, you just stick them together. So you get, you get Chris is 21 years old. Yeah, you get it. There's a apostrophe sign at the end, but it just puts them together. All right. This is really important. So this is probably one of the most important functions we need to learn. So this is the second one we learned. We learned print already. We've learned print and brackets. We have not learned input brackets yet. This is a second function. So far we've been making programs where the computer reads the instructions you give it, and then it does it. Anyone that actually runs the program can't interact with the program. They just click the button run, and then computer does everything. It's going to make a little bit more sense in the next slide. So it'll make sense as we go along. So well, actually, why don't we cover it? So what do I mean? So far we've been making programs where the computer reads the instructions you give it, and then it does it. So say for instance this one, we press run, and then it does it. So the program we've got here, it doesn't actually require the person. It doesn't require any people to help the program run. All you got to do is press run, and then the computer does everything. The computer does puts 2 inside x. The computer puts 2 inside y. The computer multiplies 2 times 2 and puts it inside z, and the computer displays the number inside z. It does all that. Same thing for this one. The computer sees equal sign that puts the words Chris is inside message 1. It puts the words 21 years old inside message 2. It in the third instruction, it puts those words together and puts it inside variable, the variable message 3. But none of that requires our help. It doesn't require people to it doesn't require anyone else but the computer to do all these things. There are some programs that require human input. It requires people to put in answers. It's going to make a little bit more sense as we get into this. So, but what if we want to make a program that actually needs the person to interact with the program to give their input? That's when we use the function input. So here's an example. Message underscore 2 equals input, brackets, what is your name inside. So say this is the first instruction in a program. What happens is the computer sees the equal sign and realizes we're trying to put something inside the variable message 2. So you're used to that. And then it looks to the right and sees the word input with the brackets. So it knows it needs to interact with the person running the program. It looks inside the brackets and sees the words, what is your name? Whenever the computer sees words inside the brackets for input, it displays it in the black box. So now this should appear in the black box. So here's, so let's slow down a little bit. Let's take this and put it inside Replit. If we run it, oh, sorry, the apostrophes again, my bad. This always trips me up. Apostrophes need to be Replit special ones. So when you run it, it should say, what is your name? So what's happened is the computer has seen the equal sign. It looks to the, it knows that we need to put something inside the variable message 2. And it looks to the right, it sees the input, it sees the bracket, so it knows we need to get an answer from a person. It looks inside the brackets, and it takes the words inside the brackets and displays it in the black box. So that's what it's done. It's displayed whatever is inside the brackets in the black box. What is your name? So then, what happens. So the computer stops running the, okay, wait. So the computer stops running the program here and waits for the person's response. In order for the computer to finish running this first instruction, it needs the person to write an answer in the black box and press enter. So after the person is finished writing their answer and presses enter, the computer stops waiting, turns the answer into words, and puts those words inside the variable message2. So I'm going to, okay, I'm gonna visualize it for you again. So okay, let's see. Snippets. Where is it? Okay. So what's happening here? So as usual, the program starts. The computer doesn't know anything. It sees the first instruction. It sees the equal sign. It knows we want to put something inside message2. So we've got a variable. We want to put something inside it. But then the computer looks to the right. It sees input. It sees brackets. So it knows that whatever goes inside message2 is a person's answer. Right? So then it looks inside the brackets and it looks for a question, whatever it needs to display in the black box, whatever question the person needs to answer. So it sees what is your name. So it makes that appear on Replit. What is your name? And now at this point, the computer stops. It waits for someone's answer. The computer is stopped at this point and it's waiting for the person to answer this question. So I'm going to write Mr. Chan and then I'm going to press enter. And what happens after that is after I've pressed enter, the computer sees my answer. It sees Mr. Chan. It's like, okay, Mr. Chan, I'm going to put Mr. Chan inside message2. And that's when the first instruction is finished. So what we're left with is the person's answer inside the variable. Yep. Okay, if that is too complex, let me put it this way. The whole point of input is for the program to ask the person using the program a question, right? So when we have input and then the brackets, whatever is inside the apostrophe inside here, the words inside these brackets, is a question we ask to the person using the program. In this situation, we want to get the person's name, so we ask, "What is your name?" And then when the person, and when the person answers that question with Mr. Chan, we take that answer and put it inside the variable on the left. Okay. So let's see if the slides are going to help. Like if you're still confused, let's see if the slides can help. So the computer stops, okay. It looks to the right, sees the word input with brackets, so it knows it needs to interact with the person running the program. It looks inside the brackets and sees the words, "What is your name?" Whenever the computer sees words inside the brackets for input, it displays it in the black box, just like here. So now this should appear in the black box, right? The computer stops running the program here and waits for the person's response. In order for the computer to finish running this first instruction, it needs the person to write an answer in the black box and press enter. So I wrote my answer and press enter. And after you do that, after the person has finished writing their answer and presses enter, the computer stops waiting, turns the answer into words, and puts those words inside the variable message2. So at this point, after you press enter, Mr. Chan, the words Mr. Chan are put inside the variable message2. Just like this. So at the end of this program, we have a variable called message2 that holds words inside it that the person wrote. In my example, I wrote Mr. Chan. but then the program ends and does nothing with it because we only have one instruction. We only have one instruction. So basically, what we're left with is the words Mr. Chan inside a variable called message2. But since there is no instructions afterwards, it remember after remember after all the instructions are done, the computer stops the program. And once the computer stops the program, the computer forgets every variable. It forgets everything. So message2 no longer exists. This disappears. Okay. Here's a different example. In this example, the computer takes the person's answer and puts it inside message2. So the question is, what is your name? The person writes Mr. Chan. For example, Mr. Chan, the words go into message2. Then we go to the second instruction. We see the equal sign. We know that we want to put something inside a variable called message1. We put the word hello inside message1. And then in message3, it sees the equal sign. It knows that we need to put something inside message3, the variable message3. It looks to the right, it sees a plus sign, looks inside message1, and it sees the word hello. It looks inside message2, and it sees the words Mr. Chan, because that's what's inside variable message2 at that point, and it adds them together, it sticks them together. So at the end, we should have hello, Mr. Chan. And we should have hello, Mr. Chan. Hello, Mr. Chan is then put inside variable message3. And finally, we could add print message3, and basically that takes whatever is inside the bracket. The computer sees print, so it knows we're displaying something in the black box, and it looks inside the brackets to find what it needs to display in the black box, and it finds message3. And inside message3, we see the variable, we see the words "Hello, Mr. Chan." Cool. So let's do this. Okay. Okay. So what happens here? So computer doesn't know anything. It goes to first instruction, sees equal sign, looks to the left, sees it knows that we're trying to put something inside the variable message2. It looks to the right, sees input, and so it knows that we're asking the person using the program a question. So it looks inside the brackets and sees the words "What is your name?" So it displays "What is your name?" in the black box. So say this is the black box. It says "What is your name?" So then the user, I write Mr. Chan, and then I press enter. And then what happens after that is after I press enter, is the computer receives the words Mr. Chan, and then it puts it inside the variable message2. So message2 is a word Mr. Chan inside words Mr. Chan inside it. And we go to the second word, second instruction. We see the equal sign. So the computer knows that we're putting something inside the variable message1. We look to the right, we see the word hello. And so then it just puts the word inside message1. So message1, hello. Now we go to message3. We see the third instruction. We see the equal sign. So we know we're putting something inside message3. We look to the right and we see a plus sign. So the computer knows we're adding something together. We don't know if it's words or numbers yet. It'll look into it after. So then it looks into message1, the variable, and it sees the word hello. It looks inside message2 and it sees the words Mr. Chan. So it sticks them together. So message1 plus message2. It sticks them together and then it puts it inside message3. So we look inside message3 at this point. we have hello, Mr. Chan. So now we're in the final fourth instruction. We see print. The computer knows that we need to display something in the black box, and then it looks inside the brackets to figure out what that is, what it needs to display in the black box, and it sees message 3. So message 3, if we look at message 3, we've got hello Mr. Chan, the words hello Mr. Chan. So then it displays hello Mr. Chan in the black box. Cool. So if we run the program, it should do exactly that. So we take this. Except I have to remember to replace these little apostrophes, these little annoying apostrophes, but that's okay. Such is life. Life is tough sometimes. We have to replace apostrophes. So, yeah, the computer sees equal sign. It knows we need to put something inside message 2. It looks to the right, sees input, so it knows that we're asking for the person, a response from the person. It looks inside the brackets to figure out what question the person needs to answer. It takes this and it displays it in the black box. So we have what is your name right now. So then now it's waiting. The computer stops. It waits for the person's response. And waits for the person to respond and then press enter. So I write Mr. Chan and then I press enter. Okay. After I press enter, the computer goes to this one. The second instruction, it sees equals. It knows that we have to put something inside message 1, the variable. It looks to the right, it sees hello. The word hello goes into message 1. Then the computer goes to the third instruction. It sees the equal sign. It knows we need to put something inside message 3. It sees the plus sign and knows we're adding something together. Doesn't know if it's words or numbers. It sees message 1 has hello inside it. It sees message 2 has the words Mr. Chan inside it. It sticks them together, puts it inside message 3. And then in the fourth and final instruction, the computer sees print, so it knows that it has to display something in the black box, looks inside the brackets to figure out what it needs to display. It finds message 3, which has the words hello Mr. Chan inside it, and it displays it. So if you notice, when we run the program, all right, Mr. Chan, I press enter. It's super quick. In the time between I press, so if I do it again real slowly. So all right, Mr. Chan, and then I press enter. You hear the enter. The time between me pressing enter and hello Mr. Chan appearing on the screen is really short because the computer is actually really quick. Like all these little instructions, the computer is really quick at doing these. So this instruction would take like a split second, a millisecond. This would take like a millisecond. And then by the time it gets here, it doesn't take any time at all. We don't even notice it. So computers are very fast at doing instructions. So in that way, it's really smart. It's really dumb in some ways, but in some ways it's really smart. It's really smart in the sense that if you give it the right instructions, it's super quick. So there's that. Yeah, so at the end of the program, you get this answer, which is pretty freaky, but you know. So hopefully you see where I'm going with this. I'm giving you the basics so that when we can start making programs, that do useful things. Like at the moment, the things that we've been doing, these things here, they don't seem to really, they're not really doing anything useful, but they're demonstrating to you certain things that you need to know in order to make useful programs. We need to go through those things in order to make useful programs, if that makes sense. So we ended up here. So we're going to stop right there for this lesson.